You know that feeling when you start dreaming of a vacation? And then that other feeling when you're finally there, standing on a foreign shore? Ever wonder what happens in between? Tourism isn't just about taking a break, it's a massive global engine. It all starts with a personal feeling, but ends with some pretty big global consequences. So, let's unpack that entire journey together.
So let's get personal for a second. Think back to the last trip you took. What was the real reason you decided to go? Were you trying to escape the daily grind? Maybe searching for a totally new perspective? Or were you just craving some serious, uninterrupted relaxation? That first little impulse, that why, that's the spark that ignites a multi-trillion-dollar industry. It really does all start with a feeling. So let's dive into that spark. It's pretty interesting, actually. The word motivation comes from the Latin word movere, which means to move. Makes a lot of sense, right? So what is it that moves us, psychologically speaking, to pack our bags and go? Let's break it down. When it comes to travel motivation, it usually boils down to a simple push and pull. Think of it like a magnet. The push factors are all the internal stuff, the stress, the boredom, that deep-seated need for a change of scenery that literally pushes you away from your everyday routine. And then you've got the pull factors. That's the destination's magnetic appeal, the promise of incredible beaches, ancient ruins, or amazing food that pulls you towards it. It's that powerful 1-2 punch that turns a bit of wanderlust into a booked flight.
But it goes even deeper than just a simple push and pull. Travel can actually fulfill every single level of our human needs, kind of like what Maslow described in his famous pyramid. Right at the bottom, you have the basics, your physiological needs. A trip gives you rest and good food. Check. Then comes safety. You pick a secure spot. But travel also helps us climb that pyramid. Connecting with friends and family fulfills social needs. Sharing awesome photos from your trip can give your esteem a little boost. And right at the very top, learning a new skill or exploring a new culture, that's self-actualization. A single vacation can literally be a journey up that entire hierarchy.
Okay, so you felt the spark, but how does that vague desire for somewhere else become a real plane ticket and a hotel reservation? Well, this is where the massive, intricate machinery of the tourism industry really kicks into gear, turning your dream into a concrete itinerary.
For any place to become a real tourist destination, it needs what experts call the 5 A's. First up, accessibility. Can you even get there easily? Next, accommodation. Is there somewhere to stay? Then, amenities. Are the basic services like roads and hospitals all set? And of course, the things that draw you in the first place. Attractions, like historic sites, and activities, like scuba diving. If you're missing even one of these 5 building blocks, even the most beautiful place on Earth is going to struggle to bring in visitors.
Now, trying to coordinate all 5 of those A's by yourself can be a logistical nightmare. That's where travel intermediaries step in. Think of them as the architects of your trip. These are the middlemen who bundle all the complicated stuff, flights, hotels, tours, into one seamless package, so you don't have to sweat the details. And the way we work with these travel architects has totally transformed over the years. It all started back in the mid-1800s with a guy named Thomas Cook, who literally invented the package tour. That idea evolved into these huge agency chains in the 20th century. But the real revolution, of course, was the internet. The rise of online travel agents, OTAs, put the power of a global travel agency right in our pockets.
So with the planning sorted, the fun part can begin. Choosing your adventure. And the modern tourism industry is just incredibly diverse, offering experiences tailored to pretty much any interest you can imagine.
For all you thrill seekers out there, there's adventure tourism. And it really exists on a spectrum. On one end, you have what they call hard adventures. We're talking high-risk, high-skill stuff, like summiting a mountain or deep cave diving. On the other end, there are soft adventures, like a scenic kayaking trip or a guided hike, which give you a taste of the wild but with a nice safety net. It's all about finding your perfect mix of fun and risk.
Then you have ecotourism, which is about so much more than just seeing nature. It's about preserving it. The goal here is pretty simple. Travel to natural areas in a way that actually protects the environment, empowers local communities with direct economic benefits, and educates you, the traveler. It's the kind of travel that really aims to leave a place better than you found it.
A huge and really fascinating trend is health tourism. This splits into 2 main branches. On one side, you've got wellness tourism. Think yoga retreats in Rishikesh or spa treatments in Bali, all focused on rejuvenation. Then, on the other side, there's medical tourism, where people travel across borders to get affordable, high-quality surgeries or treatments. It's this whole industry built on the pursuit of well-being.
Of course, not all travel is for fun and games. There's a really fundamental split in the industry between the business traveler and the leisure tourist. Now, the differences in trip length and purpose are pretty obvious, but the real core distinction is constraint versus choice. The business traveler has to operate within the strict constraints of their job, while the leisure tourist's entire journey is defined by their own personal choice. And that simple divide shapes everything from airline prices to what you find in your hotel room.
So up to now, we've pretty much seen tourism from the traveler's perspective. But let's flip the script. What does it look like from the destination's point of view? When millions of us arrive somewhere, we leave more than just footprints. Our collective impact can reshape entire economies, societies, and ecosystems.
A really powerful way to think about this is something called Doxy's Irritation Index, which tracks how a local community's attitude towards tourism can change over time. It often kicks off with euphoria. Everyone's excited about new jobs and money. But over time, that can fade into apathy, as tourism just becomes part of the background. But if problems like overcrowding start to creep in, it can fester into irritation. And in the worst cases, it can lead to full-blown antagonism, where locals start to see tourists as a threat. It's a pretty stark reminder that, for a destination, you really can have too much of a good thing.
And this really highlights the central paradox of tourism. On one side of the scale, you have these incredible benefits, economic growth, tons of jobs, and the beautiful potential for real cultural exchange. But on the other side, the weight of the cons can be immense. Irreversible environmental damage, cities that feel overcrowded, and even the erosion of local culture. The entire future of sustainable travel really depends on finding the right balance on this scale.
And so, that brings us right back to where we began, with you. Because the traveler is the alpha and the omega of this entire system. You're the spark that starts it all, and you're the one who leaves the final impact. Every choice we make, from the destination we pick to the souvenirs we buy, writes a tiny piece of tourism's future. So the only question left is, what kind of footprint will you choose to leave behind?